To Ironpigs fans, Anthony Vasquez is a newcomer, a 28-year-old lefty, solid and reliable, but to his family and friends, even doctors, he's a living miracle.
A lot of people who do have these injuries don't get better, and they don't get to a point where they're able to reach that same functional level, and especially a professional ball player to reach that same level is really amazing.
An 18th round draft pick in 2009, Anthony knew it wouldn't be an easy road to the majors, but make it he did in 2011, becoming the 10th Seattle Mariner to win his debut on August 23rd.
I knew I'd be in a senior sign and 18th round that you got to make things happen early, so I just went out there and kind of had an edge and tried to do what I could as fast as I could, and fortunately it worked out for me really well, and I was able to move up a lot faster than I ever thought.
But the next season in 2012, Anthony would overcome an obstacle like none other. He'd survive emergency brain surgery.
I had kind of a weird vertigo instance one night. I just didn't feel good, felt kind of dizzy and a real weird head issue that was not a headache. And that lasted most of the night, and I couldn't say it felt weird, but then the next day I kind of finally got an hour of sleep or so, then went to the field and I didn't feel anything and I felt fine.
But Anthony wasn't fine. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday in November, he lost peripheral vision in his right eye and began suffering from headaches.
It was more movement related. It wasn't a typical headache where you just sit here and it kind of just throbs and hurts. It was when I would move and do certain things, it was just kind of a pressure and more of a pressure hurt in my head. And it was, like I said, it was based on movement, not just a normal headache. And so it was definitely a little bit different feeling, and I was like, yeah, let me go in and just see what the doctor has to say.
Rehabbing a shoulder injury at the time in Peoria, Arizona at the Mariners training complex, Anthony's MRI that day showed a mass in his brain. The team doctor set him up with a neurologist the next morning at St. Joseph's Hospital in Phoenix.
He tried to be as professional as possible, but you can kind of tell he had that look in his eyes like, this is not good news sort of deal, but I mean, he did it in a very nice, And honestly, at that time, I was pretty thankful that he said they found something. The last thing I wanted to hear was, well, we don't know, let's do more tests. It might, tomorrow let's do something, or come back in a couple days. You could tell he was like, this is serious, and what he said is just, you're gonna have to stay here and we're gonna do surgery in the morning.
At the time, doctors were unsure if it was a brain tumor or AVM. It turned out to be the latter, an arteriovenous malformation, a tangle of blood vessels in his brain.
Instead of having the normal flow from the arterial side to the venous side, and there's capillaries in between, this is just a tanglement of these vessels, so it's a large pressure head.
Jennifer Axelband manages the intensive care unit of neurological injuries at St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, where similar AVM surgeries are performed.
The whole purpose is to remove it. They need to get control of the blood flow through the AVM. So they'll try to secure the arterial end first, and then resect and secure the venous end. Now again, if this is a rupture and something that has to be emergent, it's a very dangerous surgery because you don't know what the blood flows are. You try to delineate best you can.
Anthony's dad, Rudy, is a major league scout for the LA Angels and joined us for an interview over FaceTime, recalling the grueling 6-hour surgery and updates throughout.
Halfway through the surgery, one of the major assistants in the surgery found me. He came up, he said, Mr. Vasquez, it's much worse than we thought. Anthony has a ruptured artery in his brain, but you got the best doctor in the world on it. Just have patience and have faith. We got the best guy in the world.
That was the truth. Undergoing surgery at the Barrow Neurological Institute at St. Joseph's Hospital, Anthony was in the hands of world-renowned neurosurgeon Dr. Robert Spetzler, the man who developed the medical scale for diagnosing and attacking brain AVMs, who a day later was leaving the country.
He created the grading system that we use for morbidity and mortality for arteriovenous malformation. He looked at patients with AVMs and came up with a grading system based on size, eloquence, meaning where in the brain as far as functionality is located, and assigned numbers to these different areas as far as the grading system to predict mortality, and helps to create plan as for how these patients should be treated.
I'm biased, right? But I work for the Angels. I think Mike Trout's the best player in the world. Well, Dr. Spetzler is the Mike Trout of this surgery. So if you're going to get it done, you know, why not the best? And he happened to be blocks, I mean, a few miles down the street from the best guy in the world, from the Mike Trout surgeon of the world.
And he was batting 1,000 that day in the operating room. As the procedure was a success, Anthony a best-case scenario.
And the doctor came and he talked to me, and he just stood there and he said, you know, Mr. Vasquez, it was a ruptured artery and had blood rushed out into his brain. Certainly, you know, paralysis, it certainly would have killed him. And I said, well, then how do you cut an artery, or how does an artery rupture and blood not spew into his brain? And he just put his palms up and he shrugged his shoulders. And I said, Jesus, right? And he said, yeah. He said, Jesus.
Not only did Anthony survive the surgery, he walked out of the hospital 3 days later and was pitching that spring in Single-A Clinton. In 3 years' time since, he's thrown over 360 innings.
It's pretty mind-boggling sometimes to just be like, wow, I mean, why me? You know, I have nothing to do but just be thankful, really. I mean, that's all I can do. I don't necessarily feel like deserving of it or anything. I just feel like it was kind of an act of grace, and just all I can do is really be thankful. And so sometimes it is good to just sit back and reflect on that and just say, yeah, I could easily not be here, or if I am here in a bad situation physically, based on all the things that could happen.
Less than 1% of the general population is diagnosed with a brain AVM, and roughly 10% of all minor league baseball players ever make it to the major leagues. Now, one of those may be good fortune, the other not so much. Anthony has defied both of those odds, and now he's looking forward to his future in the Phillies organization with a goal of returning to the game's highest level.
It's been a long road to work. I mean, not only just come back from the head thing, but I know that anybody knows come back from any type of injury where it keeps you off the field a long time. It doesn't just come back right away, and it takes a lot of time. And for me, it's definitely taken some time to kind of get back to what I feel like is my old self, and to be the best that I can be. And I feel like this year I finally kind of getting in that groove again. And so if I get that opportunity, I know it's going to feel really good to just, you know, after battling and coming back to get back there again.